All right, let's talk about something that follows you around everywhere, your financial shadow. It's this powerful, mostly invisible system of credit reporting. And over the next few minutes, we're going to break down exactly how it works, what your rights are, and, this is the big one, what you can actually do when it gets things wrong.
You know that feeling, right? When you're applying for a credit card or maybe a car loan, even a mortgage, and you just know there's this secret grade, this number, that's making the decision for them. It kind of feels like it's following you around everywhere.
Well, guess what? That feeling is 100% correct. The system is totally real, and its influence, it's huge. I mean, it affects everything from the interest rate you'll pay on a loan to whether or not you can even get that apartment you had your eye on. Think of your credit report as this invisible resume that lenders and other companies are looking at all the time.
And here's the crazy part. What they see is just the simple 3-digit score. But that little number, that's just the tip of the iceberg. Underneath it all, it's supposed to represent your entire financial life. Every bill you've paid, every loan you've taken out, every decision, all boiled down into one single grade.
Okay, so let's dig into this invisible scorecard, right? What we're talking about is this massive automated system that's just constantly grabbing and updating information about you. And the scale, I mean, the sheer scale of it is just staggering. Get this. Every single month, data on over 1.3 billion, with a B, consumer credit accounts gets updated and pumped into the system. That is an insane amount of information flying around. So you've got to wonder, who's in charge of all this? Who are the key players managing all our data? So, who's actually running the show here? Well, it's not just one company. It's really a whole ecosystem of players. And each one has a very specific job when it comes to building your financial profile.
To get a handle on it, you really only need to know about 3 key groups. First up, you have the furnishers. These are the lenders, the banks, the collections agencies, anyone providing your data. Then you have the consumer reporting agencies, or CRAs. You know them, Equifax, Experian, TransUnion. They're the ones who compile everything. And then, smack dab in the middle of it all, is you, the consumer. And you can see here how it all connects. It's basically a big loop. Your data, your payment history, flows from those furnishers to the CRAs. The CRAs then take all that info, package it up into your credit report, and then sell it right back to the same furnishers anytime they need to make a decision about you. It's just this constant cycle.
But okay, with billions of pieces of data flying around every single month, what happens when the system messes up? Because let's be real, errors happen. And when they do, they can have some really serious consequences for you.
And these mistakes can pop up from anywhere. It could be a simple data entry typo, or a file matching error, which is where someone else's info gets stuck on your report just because you have similar names. Or it could be something much worse, like actual identity theft.
Now, while mistakes can happen with any kind of account, they are definitely not spread out evenly. Just look at this. The dispute rate for collections items is over 1%. That's way higher than for things like bank cards or auto loans. In fact, almost 40% of all disputes sent to the credit bureaus are about collections. It's a huge problem area. But here's the good news. You are not powerless in this fight. You have a really powerful tool on your side, and it's a federal law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, or FCRA. This law gives you specific, legally protected rights to make sure the information about you is fair and accurate. First up, and this is fundamental, you have the right to know. If any information from your credit file is used against you, say to deny you a loan, insurance, or even a job, they have to tell you. They can't just leave you in the dark. And they have to tell you which credit reporting agency gave them that info. Okay, now this one is the big one, the right to dispute. You have the absolute right to challenge any information in your file that you think is wrong or incomplete. The law says the credit bureaus must investigate your claim. They can't just ignore you. And this is so critical. You have the right to a freeze. This lets you put a security freeze on your credit report. It's an incredibly powerful tool, especially if you're a victim of identity theft, because it blocks anyone from opening new credit in your name unless you specifically authorize it. Okay, so you know your rights. That's huge. Now, let's get practical. How do you actually go about fixing a mistake on your report? Well, it's a pretty clear step-by-step process. Really, it boils down to 4 essential steps. Step 1, get your report. I mean, you can't fix what you can't see, right? Step 2, gather your proof. This is where you build your case. Step 3, submit your dispute. And step 4, super important, follow up.
Make sure they actually made the correction. And when you're gathering that proof, you gotta be thorough. You'll need a copy of the report with the mistake clearly highlighted or circled. Then, you need copies, and I mean copies, never send your originals, of any documents that prove you're right. We're talking canceled checks, bills, whatever you've got. And finally, you write a simple, clear letter explaining exactly what the mistake is and why it's wrong. Okay, but what if you do all that work, send everything in, and the credit bureau writes back saying, nope, we verified it and it's accurate? This is where so many people get frustrated and give up, and it's so important to understand what's really happening behind the curtain. Because the law itself is crystal clear. The FCRA says that any information that is inaccurate, incomplete, or, and this is the key word, unverifiable, it has to be removed, usually within 30 days. So that word, unverifiable, is your leverage. And here's the really frustrating part. The gap between what you think is happening and what's actually happening. You send in this detailed letter with all your proof carefully laid out, but on their end, your entire dispute often gets boiled down to a simple 3-digit code in a computer system called eOscar. That little code is all the bank or lender ever sees, so they just check their computer, see if it matches, and send a response back. Your actual evidence? It might never even be seen by a human being. So, this is where you make your next move. If they come back and say that the item is verified, the FCRA gives you another right. You have the right to ask them for their method of verification. This basically forces them to show their work. And a lot of the time, you'll find out their method was just the computer checking its own records, which is an incredibly powerful way to prove they didn't do a real investigation. And all of this really leads to the biggest question, doesn't it? In a world that's run more and more by algorithms, where your entire financial life can get boiled down to a 3-digit code, who gets the final say on your story? Well, it's so important to remember that you still have rights, and understanding them and knowing how to use them, that's what makes sure that you, not some algorithm, get the final say.